What?
Welcome back to Jebuland, and welcome to the first big proper episode 2 of this park. We're actually going to get pretty much a lot done today. You can see me right now building the coaster. This is a short time lapse I completely forgot I had, so don't be surprised if I start talking to you like you've never seen any of this during the real time section in a bit. But yeah, this is me building the first coaster of Jebuland. I wanted to start with what I consider to be a little scrappy ride we probably bought off some other park, and that was a Vekoma Junior coaster. A lot of these have been built across the world, most of them custom, but they did actually have a few standardized layouts, and this is one of those layouts. I believe it's called the medium layout. It's not a perfect recreation by any means, but I did enjoy building this little thing. Now, I'm gonna skip over most of the building stuff because the building part of this coaster, like the decorating and the station building, actually took me quite a while. So I did it in a lot of small batches, and watching a time-lapse of that just wouldn't be fun. So I decided to skip that out. I'm going to show you that in the real-time section in a bit. But you can see me shaping the track and struggling with that a bit, so that's fun. Now, as for today with Jebuland, like I said, it's going to be a real big episode, as I've only edited half of it by the time I'm recording this. But we're going to get a lot done. Mostly this coaster, the entrance building, or at least the entrance plaza, which is going to get pretty much finished by the end of this episode, and of course I need your input as board of directors again, so stay tuned for that. I should say. Now, I really liked the first episode of Jebuland. I really like doing a bit more of the creative stuff with the little intro and things like that, so I'm going to try and do a bit more of that here as well. Now, real quick, I have to thank you for letting me know that there actually is a gridded pillar in this game. A few people have commented it on the first episode, the resort balcony pillar, and it is exactly what I'm looking for. I don't know why I never found it. I was searching for stuff like pillar and post and beam. It should have come up at some point, but it didn't. So thank you for leaving that as feedback, because it is, like, I've been playing this game for has it been a year yet? Yeah, I think so, coming up on a year. And I never knew, and I've just been struggling building anything circular or remotely with an arch in it. So thank you for letting me know, because that is going to save me, quite a few headaches. Now, getting back to the time lapse, you can see me putting down a bunch of apples, which aren't apples. Well, they are. This is, I think it's one of the marketplace decoration pieces, and what I wanted to do with this is create some sort of gravel trench, I think is the right word, through which the coaster can go. It supports like the lower areas from concaving and or becoming a hazard. And you can also see me adding a bunch of greenery. Now that tree is going to go, because it's way too high budget and way too pretty. We wouldn't have like lush gardens around here. We'd have probably a lot of mud and maybe some of the more crawling greenery you can see me putting in now, which just goes ahead and grows wherever it wants to, and you don't need to maintain it. So yeah, I've removed that tree by now, and switched to a more budget-friendly option for this coaster surrounding area. Like, there you go. I'm just adding in a bunch of grass and continuing the gravel onto the other side as well. Now, real quick, before we get into the first real-time section of this episode, I wanted to mention that while this is a kiddie ride, it's not going to be like a children's family park. I want there to be thrill rides as well, and maybe some bigger coasters as we can get them cheaply. But there's going to be something here for everyone, so let me know at the end of this episode what I should put in. Spoiler alert. But for now, let's take a look at the finished SunsiSezu. Yes, that is the name. It's here. It's here, and I've really liked building this little coaster. This is the first ride of Jebuland, and it is, well, I'd actually say complete, as far as I'm concerned. It's a little old school Vekoma Jr. It's based on a standard layout they produced a while. Can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but I'll look it up and I'll put it in a footnote. It is called SunsiSezu, which translates to super speed, and it is our first little kiddie ride. Now, I'm really happy with how this turned out. This little scrappy coaster just to the right of the park. You'll see it a bit more in context later on in the video. This we bought up from another park for the lowest bargain price we could get them for. We didn't even repaint it. It still has the defects from the old park, but we've placed it down and we've made it our own. I want to quickly take you through this area without hopefully people shouting in my ear like they are doing right now, and show you the coaster and its surrounding area. Now, I'm going to go right to left here because this is the least interesting, and it's also the most unfinished, as you can see. This little area is mainly there to provide a path to the backstage area right here. You can see I've put in these gates, which, again, in a high budget park, these would be hidden away, but you know, why hide something when you can have it in plain view and act like it isn't there? Back here we have the staff path, and it goes to what is now a very plain staff building. Of course, this is going to get integrated more into the architecture surrounding it. But this little place does provide a nice view. The lift hill at the track. If you're a child, you might even be able to climb up this bench and look over the fence to see what's ahead of you. Now, the other side goes into the station building. I've tried to keep this as low-key as possible without being low effort, I should say. Like I tried to explain in the little board of directors meeting PowerPoint presentation at the start of the previous episode, this park, while being really a low budget, does want to put some of its focus on theming and just general immersion in the park. So you're not going to get giant animatronics, you're not going to get these elaborate storylines, but it's also not just a coaster plonked on some concrete and call it a day. So it's kind of this middle road while still showing with every fiber of its being that it's there to make money. And if it isn't, then it's not going to get done. Same goes for this little photo kiosks. I'll actually use the new photo booth system for once, which was confusing at first, but it works. I didn't want to have a manned photo booth here because, again, personnel cost, you wouldn't do that. So this is just an automatic photo or a photo machine where you can just type in your number and get your photo after you pay, of course. These are going to be at every ride that I can get them in, or at least every coaster. And some might be manned or integrated into like a souvenir shop, but I think most of them are going to follow the same style as this one, where it's just this little covered kiosk where you can get your photos and nobody has to tend to it the entire day. So you don't have, well, apart from electricity, you don't have running costs for this stuff. Then the station building itself, it has this kind of rustic barn-ish look. I've also tried to do that with the music. I'm not sure which music it is, but it is in-game. Just to give it this soundtrack. Again, music is cheap. You can just grab whatever fits your theme off the internet and play it on loop the entire day. You don't have to commission anyone to do a special song for your coaster, like, for example, Efteling or Disney would do. And then I've jotted down a few of these crates as theming. I don't know what the theme is here. Probably something like a barn coaster gone wrong or something like that. I don't know why it's called Super Speed. I was debating for a little while to give it a sort of slight racing theme, have like a few tires stacked up and maybe some more EDM styled music, but it just didn't really fit. I tried it a slight bit, didn't fully theme it, but it didn't really fit the coaster either. So yeah, this is just a little kiddie coaster. It doesn't really need theming. Now I've made again the height meter I also use in Boulder Park. I've remade that for Jebuland, and I've also made this little sign, which I am going to try and keep consistent across every ride, where it just has some information about the coaster in this case, and these like warning signs you see everywhere. I don't know what the hand's supposed to represent, but other than that, it's probably like a category 1 ride, so it's safe for all kids. And smaller children need to be accompanied by an adult, something like that. Just a general safety mumbo jumbo you see plastered on every sign near a ride. Again, queue, very simple, just some fencing to keep people from walking straight ahead. I might need to heighten these a bit, because looking at it now with people next to it, this is like waist height for adults, so it might need to be a little bit higher. But yeah, well, we'll see about that. Also here, some promotion shots already for the photos that's going to be taken. Don't forget to smile, and don't forget to buy your photo on the way out, because we like money. That's also plastered around everywhere. I'm really happy with how this little gutter came out as well. It just adds a little bit of realism that they probably put this down without the rain gutter, then realized that every time it rains, this entire walkway would get completely flooded with whatever is coming off this roof. People would get drenched, so they slapped on this rain gutter they got at like the local hardware store. Didn't paint it or anything, just slap it on and stop complaining. Stuff like that is what I really enjoyed about building this. Here again, it's the little photo booth or photo promo thing. This screen is actually live as well, so it will show the last few people who have ridden this in the queue as well, so you can get some funny reactions and stuff out of there. And then it's on to the ride. Now I'm going to quickly show you the station itself. Again, I'm trying to add as much realism touches as possible to this park. The ready buttons on both sides of the track, actually, that people have to push before the coaster gets like cleared for takeoff, so to speak. Then on this side there are a few baskets which you can use to put your bags in. I don't think we have something akin to a backpack piece, because that would realistically be the best fit here. But for now, I've just put in the shopping bags to at least give you an idea of what I mean with this whole area. And I've also themed this little, or themed is a very big word. I've covered the ride booth in some wood to keep it slightly in theme. I've also added these outlets everywhere because I don't know, it's just such a little, like, everybody needs outlets everywhere, but a park like this wouldn't go a great length to cover them. And especially in this in the station, they probably need to, like, once in a while they need to hoover it or something, and they need outlets everywhere. I've also added this little broom and, well, garden hose. These are from a gardening set of the workshop. I'll put the code in the corner right now. But again, this just seems like such a dumb little detail that this station was probably built, and after the fact they found out that on a rainy day this just gets slippery as all heck. So they need to hose it down every once in a while and, like, use the broom to clean off any debris. It'd probably be like one of those chores that's on a checklist for the employees, like, don't forget to brush the station every once in a while, or otherwise we're gonna get violation codes for health and safety. So they just plonk them in the corner ready for every time they need them. I've also added these little custom speakers to the walls. The in-game speakers can't be scaled down. I really like the design of them, but they can't be scaled down, meaning that they would stick out like a sore thumb here. So they are actually, you can see them there, they are lying on the ground there, playing the music you're hearing, if I decide to keep it in, because it is pretty loud. but really, or in real life, they would come from these speakers, which again plonked on the wall. I might add some cables on the outside here as well, because they wouldn't bother putting cables inside of these pillars or something. No, they just hang them up, maybe nail them down if they had a good day. Now, hopping onto the coaster, like I said, it's an old, like, Vekoma Junior coaster. These have been, or are still, at plenty of theme parks around the world. A lot of them are custom layouts, but they did actually have a few standardized layouts, and this is based off of one of those. I am not a recreational or a recreation builder. I can't do that very well, but I did try to make it look as realistic as possible, especially with like the height and the banking and the corners. I tried to keep it within realism levels. There you go, smile on the right picture. A little left turn over the lift hill. Then there's this little hill through the gravel trenches, which I'll show you in a bit more detail in a bit because I'm really proud of them, into a new helix, and you're already at the end. Now this is slightly unrealistic for Vekoma because they would not put in a switch track and a brake run. This coaster realistically would probably only do a lap, maybe even 2 because it's so short. A lot of these coasters do, especially on less busy days. They just go right through the station and they do another lap. But again, this park is trying to maximize profits, and how do you do that? Well, you try and get people into rides and off, or onto rides and off of them as quickly as possible. So I put in a switch track. I imagine that was either some in-house addition after they bought the thing, or maybe the park that this came from is also sort of like Jebuland, and they did it back there, and Jebuland just thought, well, we'll build it, or we'll buy it up and we'll build it again here, just as it is. Here is the little covering from the other side. Of course, vending machines. Again, you don't need people to run these. You can just plaster an on or out of order sign on them if you don't keep up with them, and otherwise they bring in passive money, so it's amazing for the park. And next to that you have some picnic benches. Again, branded sponsorships. Cosmic Cow probably donated these umbrellas a while back, and we just plumped them down here. Now, coincidentally, the whole color theme of SunsiSezu, well, color theme is a big word. Like the blue and pink kind of deal that we have going on, it kind of correlates to Cosmic Cow's color theme. So this could be a sponsored ride if we wanted it to. We could have like SunsiSezu sponsored by or brought to you by Cosmic Cow ice cream, and have like turn these into Cosmic Cow as well, just so they'd have like a complete area dedicated to them. We might do that actually, now that I think of it, but for now it's still a freestanding ride with just coincidentally having these umbrellas next to it, because like I said, these were probably donated to us or something from a previous sponsorship, and we needed to put them somewhere. Now, one little detail, or two little details I want to point out, which I'm really happy with. I've put up these lanterns. They are a custom version of the just default like street lantern with some details added to it. Little concrete footer and extra lights on the side. And on some of these I have actually made it so that one of the lights is out, which again is just a little detail that I think really makes it feel more alive. Again, with this one, the main one is out, and why fix it? The other two still work. Once we have some time left, we'll fix it sometime. So I've added those around, and I've actually, if I can turn around real quick, I've actually made an entire collection of these lanterns with like different versions with signposting and banners and speakers attached to them, so we can use these throughout the park. And I've also added a few of these bins. Now, these are just the default Planet Coaster bins. A lot of people seem to like covering the bins. I get why, because at some point you don't want to use the default in-game pieces anymore because you've seen them 100 times. But since we can recolor these, I actually think they don't look half bad if you just give them a bit more of a muted color scheme. And I've also added little details with the plushie in the bag laying next to it. Like, this has been overflowing for a while now, and again, there just hasn't been somebody working here who cared enough to clean it up. So they just left it there. And I've added a few of those details around the other bins as well, with like the decals just Like, what is that? I don't want to know what it is. Somebody come clean it up, please. But if you don't, I guess it's fine as well. That's kind of the vibe for this park. Now, taking a little look backstage, you can also see the transfer track. This is, for now, a little temporary. As you can see, it's still pretty unfinished in these areas. But this is actually staff bath. This is functional, I would say. I actually put in the power generators and stuff next to this, or next to the transfer track. I haven't really played enough of the career mode to know how these function, but they look amazing if you want to have some janky just machinery sitting out. So I added them in with just this concrete slab next to it. This is all practical stuff. This would be hidden away in a bigger park, but here, yeah, we don't care. We want to see the ride from here as well, or we don't have the budget to put up another fence, so you'll have to deal with it. I've added these little details here as well, with like the control panel. Again, these two from the gardening set, and what I imagine would be some spare coaster wheels just sitting out in the rain, left there a while ago, meant to be thrown out. They just left them there. Here you can also see that the track just is still blue here. The park we bought it from had it painted blue at some point and repainted it pink, but hadn't gotten around to painting the transfer track yet. We're not going to do it either. We bought it as it is, and we're going to use it as it is. So yeah, I really like those kind of details here. The kind of thrown together nature, my gosh, of this coaster is really really tickling my fancy. So yeah, that is SunsiSezu, the first little coaster here in Jebuland. Now, I am going to continue working on the entrance building, because we actually have a vote in on that. You guys massively voted for the European classic style entrance, so that's what I'm going to be building. I'm going to do some off-screen design work first, build up a skeleton, and then I'm going to try and jump into a time-lapse to build this entrance and get a nice little first square going for Jebuland. So just real quick, I wanted to take you through the idea and the layout that I've decided to go with. In the original sketch, or like concept I showed you in the previous video, this entrance did look a lot different, and don't worry, the whole color scheme and stuff you see here is going to change dramatically, so it will look a lot more European in the end. This is just to show you the layout. I have been looking at a few different pictures of parks across Europe, also a few of them that you guys suggested in the comments, and I found out that the little almost fairy tale-ish castle entrance is, well, seemingly pretty rare, actually. A few that come closest are Nigloland, and on a way grander scale, of course, the Efteling with its, I think it's House of the Five Senses, I think it's called. But that's just way too much for this park. Now, a few comments replied with some parks. One of them was Le Pal, which I believe is a zoo. But it did give me some of the inspiration for this one with the fact that it is genuinely just a flat wall with a logo stamped on it, and I kind of wanted to create more of that feeling while still getting some theming in here. So what I did is I used that concept of just concept of just having flat walls with these side borders. These might change into fences for something I'm going to get to in a bit, but they're not going to be giant buildings which are themed and usable. No, they're just here to separate the entrance from the park, or separate the plaza from the park itself, and nothing else. So yeah, those are a little more flat packed than usual. Something else I found as inspiration is the old entrance of the Efteling, which this is going to look a lot like. For those of you that don't know, the Efteling, it's a big theme park here in the Netherlands, and right now it has this really grandiose, beautiful, I don't know how to describe it. For those of you that have never seen it, I'll put a picture on screen, but I'm pretty sure everybody has. It has this beautiful grand entrance building. But way back in the day when it just started, it actually had, I believe, 2 entrances. And one of them was basically just a gate with a name in front of it, on top of it. They didn't have entrance fees, I believe. You could walk into the park and you'd pay per ride. And then at a later stage they did, and they have this small, cute little building with just a roof, some ticket booths, and you'd go in and you'd go to the park. So that original smaller gate, so to say, that's actually what I inspired this off of, and what I want to go with for this design. I real quickly wanted to use this these gates. Now these gates in game are well, not what I wanted to go for, but I wanted to have this feeling of having this grand gate that opens into the park, that also closes when the park is closed, so that you get this moment every morning where the gate opens and people can rush in. I also decided to lose the spires because, again, the whole fairy tale idea, it just felt too grandiose for this park. So they are going to be flat tops. I will add some decoration on top of here. I'm probably going to go for the classic, like, 2 giant orbs on top of the tower stuff, or maybe some flags or stuff like that. And then in an arch above it, which is going to be not as thick as it is now, but this is just like an outline of where I want the letters to be. There is going to be the name of the park, Jebuland, proudly presented above the entrance gate, either with like genuine ornamental letters, or just as a logo that's slapped on it. I'll have to figure out which one I like more. But that's it for the gate itself. There are going to be ticket kiosks in front. These are going to look a bit like Jardin d'Acclamation. Again, my French is awful. Why do I try? Which has this really... I don't know if I'm calling this right, but I think it's called Jugendstil, with like the kind of greenish metal stylings and the ornamental patterns in the glass and in the metalwork. I'm gonna try and base these off of that, and also use some of that metalwork, if I can get it right, in the fencing and in the decorations here. Again, these might become fences instead of solid walls, which then again would also get that kind of ornamental feeling. Now, yes, this would all be way too expensive for a park that stamped all of this out of the ground anew, but realistically this would probably be something that, like the Efteling, started as some sort of public park, and over the years added a coaster, and right now it just got bought up by our company. We have the original entrance, we added a bit to it, and other than that, it's just that. It's functional and nothing more. Also, this shape, very much not sold on it, so that's probably going to change. However, it does work nicely with the ticket booth layout, so yeah, who knows. It might change, it might be dramatic, it might not, you'll see. And I'll see, because I'm going to start building this, and I'm going to jump into time-lapse, because I do not want to put you through the live build of this thing. Yeah, so I'm starting this time-lapse a bit weird, because I told you I was going to work on the entrance, but I'm not. Well, I am. I'm going to work on a very specific part of the entrance, which is the gates I was talking about. Now, the game itself has a pretty cool gate in the, I think it's the mythology theme, which I used as a little template you saw earlier. But it's just way too clunky. And I was inspired by a few of the more... I think they're mostly used for entrances to like city parks and stuff like that, where they have these, I think it's Art Nouveau-ish kind of gates blocking off the entrance. They have this wavy pattern. They often have a kind of floral pattern going on as well, which I did not succeed to recreate. I tried, but I couldn't. So I wanted to try to do that. Now I'm using the small cylinder piece here. I later found out that there's actually a thinner piece I could use, so by the end of this video it's going to be replaced by a slightly thinner piece, at least the main balls. I don't know what you'd call these. The main like vertical thingies are, but the outer ones are still going to be the thicker ones you see here because of structural support reasons. Now I decided to add this little deco on the bottom. In the end I also add a moon to this gate. Here you can see me trying to get some sort of like wavy floral pattern going on, but I don't succeed in it. I'm really happy how these turned out. I actually have them scattered around the park as well with like the construction site, as if they had a few iterations of them, or maybe they broke during construction. So I actually have those lying around as well. I want to try and upload some creations of this park onto the workshop during the build of this park itself. In the year now that Planet Coaster has been out, I have actually not, or Planet Coaster 2 I should say, I have actually never or not uploaded anything to the workshop, which is pretty unique because a lot of people do upload their stuff to the workshop immediately. I just haven't really. I have to admit that with the old Planet Coaster I didn't do it as much either. I had a few things up on the workshop, but not a lot. I think my most downloaded creation was the Vekoma boomerang I made together with Fisherman, or at least he made the, I can't remember, I think he made the coaster and I did support work, and then we just decided to upload it as a collaborative creation. That's my most popular, that's my contribution to the workshop in the original Planet Coaster and nothing more. Now you can see me here adding in the pillars on the sides. Now I used a chimney piece for this, which I am kind of torn on, because on the one hand it does give it that kind of wonkiness with the large bricks not being exactly straight, which I really like. It's almost perfectly imperfect, so to speak, but because I've scaled up the piece very large, I'm losing a bit of detail, especially in the texture. It's not made to be this large, and you can see that with this piece very clearly. So I'm losing a bit of detail in the texture, and it's also with I think they're called LODs, like how the game renders stuff at a distance. It doesn't work nicely with that either. It disappears real quickly, or it gets less pretty real quick. So I'm still torn on whether or not I like the chimney piece. The other option would be to create just 4 walls with the I think they're the limestone walls, which have a sort of similar texture to this one, but then the bricks would be smaller. But other than that, there's not a lot of change. But yeah, I'm a little torn on these pieces. However, putting them in their place, they do really make the entrance look cool. Now, I've only recorded a part of this in time-lapse. I'm not done everything in time-lapse because it took me a while to get this video out, so this was built over a few days. So I'm going to take you back into real time real quick to show you the end product and to take you through all of the details I've added. And then I think I need your help with one more thing. So stick around for the end of the video because I need your input on something again. Alright, so there we go. The entrance is, well, at least the gate is sort of done. I've done some stuff after the time-lapse, which I want to quickly take you through. Now, naturally, I've added the lanterns and the trash cans that we also have at SunsiSezu. I've also continued this as a fence for now. I am still debating whether or not I like it, because it does leave a lot of open room for you to already see stuff in the park, and maybe even get a glance at some backstage stuff, so I might want to replace this with walls. But for now I've done the fencing, and I've kind of continued the design of the gates down here, just added them as a on a little riser. Now you can see I replaced, like I said on the voiceover, I replaced the vertical thingies with smaller poles. Again, don't know what to call them. And I've added the moon decal to it as a sort of ornamental stuff. Does it have anything to do with Jebuland as a whole? No, but it was probably already there when we bought it. Now, as for detailing, I added some shield insignias on here. Might add a little J on there to signify Jebuland again. And I've also added a lot of decals on the floor with the recolored moss, which is just one of the biggest little build hacks ever. I've just copied the messy trash cans over from the roller coaster. I really love that detail. And I've added these little planters on the corner here with a J on there. Very much not sold on them, but they do cap off the entrance nicely for now. Now the entrance plaza here in the front is completely empty. That's not because I don't want to have the ticket booths there. It is because I tried to get them right and I couldn't. At least for now I can't. So I'm gonna have another go at that, but I do want to get this video out at least somewhat in a respectable manner, and don't want to have you guys waiting for another 3 months just because I can't get the ticket booths right. So for now I've decided to forgo those and kind of move them to the next episode for the planning. Now the same goes with the arch. There is no Jebuland sign on there right now. I tried with the one of the banner signs in the game to add the name on there, but it just didn't feel right. So for now, again, it's empty, but those are the details that still need to be added in. And other than that, the entrance to Jebuland is pretty much done, so we can go through the, well, opened gates right now and walk onto what is going to be our little entrance plaza. Now, I've added a few of the construction flags on the side here to kind of signify a layout of what I'd love to have. This is all very much subject to change, but the red flags kind of outline the path ideas, and the blue flags outline a few of the building ideas I have, especially for a big restaurant on the side here, or maybe a gift shop or something like that. Something you'd find in the on the entrance plaza of a park like this. As you can see on the right there is SunsiSezu, and I think what we're going to do is have a classic kind of two-forked layout where it surrounds the central sort of plaza, same that Boulder Park has with a big lake, though I don't want to have another lake, but something in the middle that it surrounds and it goes left to right, or you can walk the park right to left or left to right, so that if you do an entire walk around, you'd always end up back here at the entrance plaza. Now, is that the phone? Wait, let me quickly check the... Wait. Yeah. Yeah. What's she got to do with it? Well, I am not that... Okay, I'll have a look. So apparently I just got sent some sort of commercial for some discount ride place I should look at. So let's do it together. Maybe there's something there we could buy up, who knows?
Welcome to Silver Red's Discount Ride Emporium. If you want cheap thrills, you've come to the right place.
Well, that sure was something. But there were some good deals in there, and I think one of these three should make it into Jebuland. So, as board of directors, I'm asking you to go down to the description and click the link to vote for your favorite. Which of these rides should we buy up and put into our beautiful Jebuland over here as the next edition? Now, other than that, I think today's episode is pretty much done. So I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.